we go. Ceremonial procession. Ready? And. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors. Then please remain standing as Catherine Radisky, Senior Vocal Performance, General and Choral Music Education major, sings our national anthem. You may be seated.
Don't you love that music? Didn't they do a great job, Catherine and our band and Dr. Butler over here? Thank you guys. Fantastic, fantastic. Give them a big round of applause. Well, good morning. Yes, absolutely, it is a good morning. I'm Bertie Patterson. It's my honor to serve as Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. Welcome to Fall Convocation, and a special welcome today to the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point at Marshfield, and the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point at Wausau. Our two new campuses. We are now united as one university, and we are live streaming to those campuses as I speak. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. And I see right down here on the front row, Representative Vandermeer from our state legislature. Thank you for coming out and supporting our students. Thank you very much. There are other thank yous in order today. A big one to Jordan Eckendorf, University Communications and Marketing, and our facility services, and University Police and Security Services, and our Provost office, and our video and IT services, and many, many others. This is a very complicated program to put on an arena like this. And they did this after having just 2 days ago another event, the University Address, which they were all engaged with. And in between those 2 days, we moved in 1,400 students into the residence hall. So this has been a very, very busy week for our faculty and staff. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Class of 2022, yesterday was move-in. The Chancellor's Cabinet, state legislators, and hundreds of faculty and staff and students helped you carry those boxes from your vehicles to your residence hall rooms, get settled in. Despite the condition of Isidore Street, and it was better than I thought it was going to be, this was the smoothest move-in I can remember. I didn't see one thing. I looked for something to suggest to Al Thompson, but I couldn't think of anything. So, residence living, I want you to know we appreciate your good work. Also, yes, there's another group of young men that deserve a thank you, particularly from you students, and that's the football team. Because if you got your request in by the deadline for your loft, the football team carried it to your room. Now, for those of you who had to actually move one of those things yesterday, you know it's heavy. They moved 980 lofts before you arrived. Let's say thank you to them. You know, thank you for applauding them. But if you really want to say thank you to our football team, go to the first game. First home game is this Saturday, 1 p.m. We're playing John Carroll University. It will be fun, and it will be a great way to support the team and support your university. So I encourage you to think seriously about doing that. Students, you're going to need to know a lot of people here. You're going to need to get to know them. You need to make friends with them, understand how they can help you. When you have an issue, the first person to talk to is your professor, particularly if it's an academic issue. So start there, then your advisor, or maybe your advisor and your professor at the same time, it doesn't matter. But those are going to be the two lead people that you need to be in contact with about almost any issue, and they'll get you headed in the right direction. But there's also a group sitting on the stage this morning that have various roles at the university that will be quite important to you during your career here. So often when a platform party is introduced, nobody pays any attention. But let me suggest today you pay careful attention, because the men and women sitting behind me, let me tell you, have a lot of responsibility and a lot of power on how things go. And so get to know them. They are great individuals. You will love working with them, but only if you know them and call upon them. So let me begin with Tim Jeannette, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, College of Natural Resources. Tim, if you just stand and remain standing, please. Shawnee Luff, Associate Dean for General Education and Honors at University College. By the way, if you have not declared a major, if you're undecided, University College will be your home until you make that declaration. Eric Yonke, Interim Dean for the College of Letters and Science. Valerie Sisler, Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Communications. Marty Lloyd, Dean of the College of Professional Studies. Greg Sommers, Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Chris Richards, Vice Chancellor for University Advancement. Kristen Hendrickson, Vice Chancellor for Business Affairs. And Al Thompson, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. Thank you. Thank you all. Over the last couple of days, I've seen a few sad faces as students say goodbye to parents and to friends, to their hometown, to their high school. Today, we welcome you. Today, we continue the tradition at UW-Stevens Point of Convocation. Class of 2022, today you will seal your commitment to this university. Today is the first day of a life-changing experience you will remember forever. Today, students, you begin to realize this is not high school. This is a university. It won't be easy, but then anything worth doing is seldom easy. You will be challenged with new ideas, even unpopular ideas, challenged with new perspectives, challenged to seek the truth, and even more importantly, to know it when you find it. Challenged to think for yourself. The greatest waste of any education is to allow someone else to think for you. Your professors have high expectations of you, and you should have high expectations of yourself and of us. I challenge the faculty to maintain high academic rigor in their courses and to help you achieve at that higher level. Just about anyone can write an exam no one can pass. Our challenge is to maintain high academic standards in our classes and at the same time be there to help students achieve at that higher level. But at the end of the day, students, what you learn is your responsibility. Class of 2022, you are not alone on this journey. Look around you. Our faculty and staff and administration are here to stand with you. They will go to great lengths to help you. Let me share just one story about Jonathan. Jonathan was taking a psychology course, but it met first thing in the morning, and Jonathan was not a morning person. He had great difficulty getting to class. He missed several classes. The professor became very concerned. He tried to intervene. He talked to Jonathan. He got in touch with the advisors. Other people talked to Jonathan. And still, that change in behavior was not occurring. He was going to fail the class. So one day, sure enough, Jonathan didn't show up. The professor gathered up the class, and they went over to his dorm room, knocked on the door, and had class in his room. Jonathan seemed to get to class the rest of the semester. That's the kind of faculty we have here at this university. I will leave you with the advice I always gave my daughter: make good decisions. Make good decisions about studying, about attending class, about dating, about drinking, and about working. H. Jackson Brown, Jr. wrote Life's Little Instruction Book on the occasion of his son going off to college. In it, he says this: our character is defined by what we choose to do when we think no one is looking. Think about that. Our character is defined by what we choose to do when we think no one is looking. Students, just a hint here. If your professor says something twice in class, you darn well better write it down. At this time, I would like to introduce again Dr. Al Thompson, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chancellor Patterson. Many of you are probably wondering, the students out there, what is Convocation? And what are these people thinking? I was just awakened from one of my last days of summertime sleeping in to attend a ceremony, and I'm not even sure why I'm here. Today is in the crowd, some of you are even still in your PJs, maybe, and maybe you're also in your slippers because it's not even noon yet. But let me tell you why you're here. Convocation serves a very important purpose. It is an academic introduction to your university study and a bookend to the commencement ceremony you will have when you graduate, and you will graduate from UWSP. Convocation is an opportunity. It's for you and your other fellow students to come together to forge a social and academic connection to the Pointer family. So at this time, the Chancellor mentioned this before, but let me have the faculty and staff members please stand up. You can give them a round of applause real quick. Students, the people out here in the audience that I have stand up in the regalia and purple shirts, this is your Pointer family. Every single one of these people wants you to succeed at UWSP. These outstanding faculty and staff members are ready to support you in every possible way to pursue your educational pursuit. They will make sure that this campus is your home. Please once again thank them, and you may be seated, faculty and staff. And while we support you, the responsibility for your education rests with each and every one of you. I ask you to do this: go to class, join clubs and play sports, volunteer, and try to have an international experience. Take advantage of the many opportunities to make your education meaningful to you. The most important thing, after the 4 years when you graduate, I want you to also cherish your time here, and most importantly, during the 4 years, learn. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce our Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Greg Sommers.
Thank you, Al. Good morning, everybody. So, as Vice Chancellor Thompson explained, you're going to have a lot of opportunities while you're here at UW-Stevens Point, and our outstanding faculty and staff, your advisors, your hall directors, your coaches, your mentors will help to guide you. College truly is a transformative experience. It's a time to learn not just new skills and bodies of knowledge, but who you are and what you can accomplish. If you're feeling excited, maybe nervous, intimidated, confident, maybe most likely some mixture of all of these emotions. That is a perfectly normal way for you to feel. Whatever your path during the next 4 years, remember that we're all here to help. Our keynote speaker this morning is Mr. Mark Young, who serves as Interim Director of Recruitment. Mark works to provide leadership, vision, and strategic direction to a team of recruiters here at UW-Stevens Point. Originally from Detroit, Mark graduated from UW-Stevens Point in 2013 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication. Following graduation, we had the good sense to hire Mark as an admissions counselor here at the university. Mark will be providing some candid advice on how to master the art of being, focusing on the opportunities that you will have and how to maximize your time here at UW-Stevens Point. UW-Stevens Point class of 2022, faculty and staff, please join me in welcoming our Convocation speaker, Mr. Mark Young.
Well, this is great. Thank you so much, Greg and Chancellor Patterson. I was really nervous prior to coming up here, but the good thing is I can only see the first 3 rows. All right, so I'm only going to be speaking to about 30 people this morning. I want to thank you all for being here and making the right decision to come to UW-Stevens Point. As mentioned, my name is Mark Young. I serve as the Interim Director of Recruitment in the Office of Admissions. And just like you, I was sitting in these very same seats, okay, nervous about what the next steps would bring, what I was going to major in, what I was doing in central Wisconsin, coming from Detroit, Michigan. Okay, and one thing that I quickly learned is growing up in Detroit, Michigan and living in Wisconsin is not a good combination, okay? I am still a diehard Lions fan. I hear one hand clapping, thank you. Now, students, be careful, as I said before. I do have the ability to admit or deny you based on my personal discretion, and I can still retract admissions up until this point. So with that, I want to talk about a few things today. I thought today, as you are sitting in those seats, students, that, man, it's going to be boring. How many people can I meet today? What more can I do to be a better person? In all actuality, I was sitting there and I was nervous. I didn't necessarily like school, didn't think I was good at it. One thing that really stood out to me was being in central Wisconsin was totally different than what I had known growing up in Detroit, Michigan for the last 18 years. Anybody else feeling unsure about life right now? Heck, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, all right? So you are not alone. As you saw, a lot of these purple shirts raising their hands, okay? It's all right. You are here with a supportive group of people that are going to help you navigate the next 4 years. And I say 4, and I mean 4. We're going to get you in and out in 4 years. And so as the leadership behind me asked me to come up with something for today, I tried to work through a lot of different ideas. I said, I have to connect with the students. So how about Stay Lit 2018? And then I said, I value my job, so I probably will want to focus a little bit more academic. I then came up with Master the Art of Being, okay? And being is not being Queen Bee, like Beyonce, some of the students are thinking about. B-E-I-N-G, okay? You have to master the art of being. And those things mean be kind, be hungry in the pursuit of your success, be different and appreciate the differences of others. Be sustainable in your lifestyle, as you will quickly learn that is a lifestyle that is lived and that is cherished here at UWSP. Be intentional with your words and your actions and understand the impacts that you have. Be punctual, even for that 8 a.m. class. Okay, students, you're accustomed to being at school at 7:30. So get here for that 8 a.m. class. Be impactful. Be respectful of everyone you encounter. Be courageous when you're going up against something that you don't know. Be inclusive, all right? Don't exclude people. I'll tell you a quick story. My freshman year, when I transferred into UW-Stevens Point, I moved into Praise Sims. Praise Sims had a lot of our international students in partnership programs. I was homesick, all right? I called my mom the first 2 weeks. I said, Mom, look, I don't know if this Wisconsin thing is for me. I think I want to come home. And my mom said, all right, son, That's a great scenario that you have. But unfortunately, you no longer have a room here in my house. And I said, Mom, I literally left 2 weeks ago, and I left belongings back there. I do have a room in that house. And she said, no, Mark, that is now my office space, so you better figure it out. And my mother knew in that moment that what I needed was tough love. She then gave me a recipe for fried chicken, hoping that would cure my homesickness. So in the residence hall, I was making fried chicken, and in comes a young man who I thought was Chinese. He introduced himself as Mike. I said, hi, Mike, my name is Mark. He said, well, Mark, I don't mean to offend you. And I said, Lord, here we go. He said, is it true that all black students can make chicken really well? And I said, well, Mike, you did a great job of trying not to offend me, but have a seat. Hopefully I can show you better than I can tell you. In that setting, I learned that Mike was not Chinese. I learned that he was Hmong. And I learned so much more about the Hmong culture. I hadn't been exposed to the Hmong culture prior to coming to UW-Stevens Point. So be open and inclusive to learning. You never know what you can learn from the next person. And I tell folks every single day that every day is an interview. You never know how that interaction can change your life later on down the line. You have to be creative when exploring solutions to problems that you may have. You have to be thoughtful. Be proud of who you are and where you come from. Be dynamic. And most of you are, except my colleagues in admissions. I'm kidding. I love you all. Be coachable. Be trainable, especially when working with your faculty. Be resourceful. The faculty and staff here want to help you succeed. That is why they are here and what they do. Be fierce. Be enthusiastic. But while you do that, be consistent in those efforts. Be happy in your skin, all right? Be polite. Be brave, especially when you're defending those who have an oppressed voice. Be a change agent, all right? And that's what we produce here at UWSP. Be open to things that are outside of your comfort zone. I quickly got a world-shaking experience when I got here to Central Wisconsin. A couple of my buddies who were wearing camouflage and blaze orange said, hey, let's go out to Schmeekley. I said, that's a nature reserve on the north end of campus? They said, yeah. I said, from my experience, black guy goes into the woods. I'm typically the first to die. Not really interested in doing that. So they said, well, we'll go in the daytime. I said, because that makes me feel a lot better. So we went out to Schmeekley, and here I am, a city kid, walking around in my brand new tennis shoes. Take note. I'm walking around, and I look up, and for the first time in my life, I see a deer live and in the flesh, and it freaked me out, okay? We don't have those small horses roaming around inner city Detroit. And so out of fear, I froze, and my buddies are all laughing. Mark, it's just a doe. It's not going to bother you, man. Let's keep moving. I said, look, if you're comfortable with it, get it away from me. As immature 18 and 19-year-olds, they did exactly the opposite, okay? I finally mustered up the courage to move. I don't know if the deer could sense my fear or it liked my cologne, but the deer took a step towards me. At that point, I took off. I ran all the way back to my residence hall room, locked the door, didn't come out for the next 24 hours, okay? Food nor class was important to me. I'm not telling you to skip class. I'm telling you to be concerned about your safety, students. I want you to be madly in love with who you are. Don't try to change for people unless it's yourself. Be present in the now and be you. I also want you to be limitless. My sophomore year, I met a young lady, and we were paired together. Her name was Marissa. I learned that Marissa was legally blind. We were paired together to teach two theories that were not discussed in the class. When I met Marissa, I had no filter as a 19-year-old student. I put my foot so far down my throat. I said, Marissa, if you don't feel comfortable speaking in front of the class, that's okay. I think I'm pretty good at that, and I'll take that portion of the presentation. Marissa looked at me and said, Mark, I can do just as much as you can, if not more, and not better. And I said, whoa, excuse me. So I went home that night, and I tried to find 10 minutes in my day to digress and understand what I did well and what I didn't do well and how I can be a better brother, son, significant other, human the next day. In that 10 minutes of reflection, I realized that I had offended Marissa. So I went back the next day and I apologized, and we got over that hurdle. It came time to present our findings. I said, folks, this is Marissa. My name is Mark. We're going to talk about ABC, and I'm going to turn things over to Marissa to start. Marissa stood up with her CNI dog and went 25 minutes off of pure memory as I stood there with 10 note cards in my hand. I didn't listen to a single word that she said for those 25 minutes. I had an internal argument with myself as to what stopped me from memorizing my 25 minutes, and she did it, and she had obstacles to get over. Later on, I found out that Marissa is an active member in the judo community. She's a black belt at this time in her life. You know what she's doing? She's traveling the world on behalf of the United States of America competing in judo. And here I was, as a 19-year-old student, questioning whether I was big enough, fast enough, strong enough, tall enough at 5'8" on a good day with cleats on. On paper, because my athletes know they give you extra 1 or 2 inches on paper, wondering if I can compete in this league. Later on, I found out that Marissa is a frequent horseback rider. And I said, wait a minute, we're going to draw the line right there. She then explained to me that horseback riding is therapeutic for people that are visually impaired and or losing their vision. So the moral of the story is don't allow anyone to put limits on what you can do and where you can go from this point in your life. You all are in the best position right now to shape your future. And I know firsthand you chose a great place to do it here at UW-Stevens Point. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take 1 to 2 seconds and just think about one of those action items and share it with your neighbor to the right and to the left. Now. All right, I said 1 or 2 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we dial it back in, I want you to take those small action items every single day and take steps towards being a better person and being a better human being. And once you mastered the art of being, then you are well on your way to mastering the art of being a pointer. With that said, I want to welcome you, class of 2020, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Let's give him one more round of applause. That was outstanding advice. All right. Today, we're going to take a moment to honor a tradition at UW-Stevens Point by asking our students, faculty, and staff to enter into a covenant. Please turn to page 6 in your convocation program. So what is a covenant? A covenant is not something that you pledge lightly. A covenant is a formal, thoughtful, and a very serious promise that you make to yourself and to others. It is an agreement that bonds you together through a set of mutual responsibilities. Students, what you make of this opportunity will depend on what you put into it. The dedicated faculty and staff that you see in this room today will support you along the way. We will guide you, and we will do everything that we can to teach you. But what you learn from your education, that depends entirely on you.
Will the faculty and staff please rise?
As faculty and staff from multiple departments and units across the university, we recognize that education is a shared responsibility, requiring the collective efforts of the entire university community. We pledge our time, our expertise, our generosity, and our patience in the service of teaching these first-year students who now join the Pointer community.
If you, as faculty and staff, will join me in making this pledge, please respond, "We will."
We will.
You may be seated. Will all students please rise?
Students, as a Pointer, your mission is first to discover, to strive to see the world from new perspectives. Some of these perspectives are cultural and develop from the study of other languages, ethnicities, and beliefs. Some perspectives come from honing new intellectual skills by learning math and science, for example, or cultivating an understanding of the past and an appreciation of the arts and literature. And some perspectives are the products of unique experiences, such as getting involved in a community or studying abroad. Being a Pointer, in other words, requires the courage to step outside of yourself and to learn from what you encounter. As a pointer, your mission is also to engage, to find the connections between yourself and the world around you. You can only do this by listening carefully to others, by empathizing with the different perspectives that you encounter, and when you disagree with these perspectives, by having faith enough in your own beliefs and values to challenge what you think you already know. Being a pointer, in other words, requires both humility and confidence, respect for others and for yourself, and the recognition that our respective individual differences strengthen who we are as a learning community. Finally, students, as a pointer, your mission is to serve. Knowledge is only useful if you apply what you learn and you put your newfound abilities to work in the service of some larger community. It doesn't matter whether that community is your own family, the town where you live, the state, the nation, the world. Being a pointer, in other words, requires a determination to make the world a better place.
Today, you become a pointer. Will you find the courage to discover, engage in our learning community, and promise to put your education to work to make the world a better place? If you will join me in making this pledge, please respond, "We will." Students, please remain standing, and will the faculty and staff please rise to join the students?
Students, faculty, and staff, education is a partnership, a never-ending progression of teaching and learning fueled by your collective willingness to share and debate ideas in a climate of mutual trust and respect. We have much to teach one another, and we all have much to learn.
This time, I want them to hear us at UW-Whitewater. Will you join together in this covenant as a member of the Pointer community? If so, please respond together, "We will." We will. You may be seated. Thank you for participating in today's covenant. Thank you.
My name is Braylee Kerber, and this is Dylan Grippentrog, and we are the Student Government Association President and Vice President. It is our honor to lead the UW Stevens Point Token of Inspiration ceremony this morning. To all the new students in the audience, Dylan and I were once sitting in your place not too long ago, nervous, excited, and a little afraid of what the future at UW Stevens Point would hold for us. At this time, I would like to do an activity with you. I would like you to think about a person who is the most inspiring to you. Now, turn to the person next to you. Introduce yourself, your hometown, and share with them the person you find the most inspirational to you and why. There's a draft here.
My name's Dylan. I'm from Spencer.
All right. So, I'm guessing some of you may have said your parents, grandparents, a teacher, or a friend are the most inspirational to you. Regardless of who it is, those people are important to you. They have taught you something valuable, and they have helped you discover the person you are, and are fine examples of the person you would like to be in this world. Today, Dylan and I have in our hands a token on a keychain. On the token are printed 3 words from the covenant: discover, engage, and serve. In the center are the words pass it on. We would like to do just that. Pass on our tokens to express our appreciation to a member of the Pointer community who has inspired us during our academic journey. Dylan and I are honored today to have been asked to share our tokens of inspiration with a special person on this campus. At this time, I would like to ask Pam Bork, Associate Professor of Education, to please join me on stage. Professor Bork is my faculty advisor in the School of Education. In the past 2 years, she's given me both career and life advice. I'm lucky to be able to turn to her when I'm feeling stressed, confused, or excited. I have also been fortunate enough to have her as a professor twice, and I look forward to having her again at 8 a.m. this fall. I admire her willingness to go the extra mile to help her students and her advisees. At this time, I would like to present Dr. Pam Bork with the token of inspiration.
At this time, I would like to ask that Erica Ringelspa, lecturer of English, please join me on the stage. I had Professor Ringelspa during my English class, English 101, there we go, last fall. Professor Ringelspa pushes her students to be the best person they can be inside and outside of the classroom. She made me a better writer, but also a better person. As a first-generation college student, I was terrified and unsure of what my college experience would bring to me. Professor Ringelspa made sure that I felt comfortable and successful in the classroom setting. Professor Ringelspa also helped create one of the most memorable moments of my freshman year. To those of you that know me, you understand that I have a tendency to slightly show up late sometimes. This happened to me quite a bit during my first semester here. However, the one time I arrived 2 minutes early to my English class, Professor Ringelspa and my entire English class stood up and gave me a standing ovation. This is something that I will cherish for the rest of my life. From writing papers to bonding over musicals, thank you for making my college experience less frightening. It is my honor to present this token of appreciation to Professor Erica Ringelspa. Let's give a big round of applause again to Professor Pam Bork and Professor Erica Ringelspa. Now, for the class of 2022, we are passing this tradition on to you. Each one of you will receive a token of inspiration at the end of the ceremony. We challenge you to hook this keychain onto your lanyard or your keys for at least 1 year, maybe 3, maybe 4. Think about who inspired you during your journey here at UW-Stevens Point and give them that token. We hope you find what we found here during our time, that is, a Pointer family member to inspire you during your time of study, be a cheerleader for you, guide you, and help you make it to commencement day. If you have more than one person you find inspiring during your time here and would like to show appreciation to them as well, please feel free to stop by Old Main to pick up another token. Remember to always keep the larger of the 2 tokens on your keychain as a memory of this special day. Congratulations, class of 2022, on joining the Pointer family. We are counting on you guys to share the Pointer spirit, continue the Pointer legacy, and carry on this Pointer tradition. Thank you.
From its founding in 1894 as a teacher's college to its current role as a comprehensive university, one symbol has continually represented the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point: the cupola. The architectural pinnacle of the university's first building, Old Main, the centerpiece of the university logo, the most photographed structure on campus. The cupola was built to serve a very practical purpose. It's an air vent. Through the decades, the cupola has come to serve another purpose, as a beacon, a guiding light for students, alumni, friends, and community. Carefully restored in 2011 with a gift from alumnus Jim Eggert and his wife Kathleen, the 22-foot-high cupola renovations included the enhancement of LED lighting fixtures and a new weather vane, replacing the original iron structure that stood atop Old Main for more than 100 years. In 2012, Chancellor Bernie Patterson commissioned a replica of the cupola to be a tangible part of university ceremonies, including two of the most important events on a university campus: Convocation and Commencement. Artisan Joe Hoover, in consultation with university instructor Bill McKee, spent more than 250 hours creating the replica from materials significant to the university, community, and the region. The base of the replica is white pine from Marathon Park in Wausau. For stability, the center of the base is filled with old lead curtain weights from Jenkins Theater in the Noel Fine Arts Center. The base also features a disc of slate cut from an old chalkboard retrieved during the renovation of the Communication Arts Center. The dome and drum are streaked with hemlock, logged in the late 1800s, salvaged from the floor joists of the former Lullaby Furniture Factory in Stevens Point. The ornate detail on the drum was painstakingly hand-carved. The pillars were created with wood from white ash trees grown here on the university campus. The weather vane replica was forged by ironworking expert Boleslav Kochanovsky, the same artist who created the new weather vane that currently caps Old Main. Each year, first-year students seal their covenant with the university by touching the cupola replica dome as they depart from Convocation. Faculty and staff renew their commitment in a similar fashion. A bookend tradition is observed at commencement as students become alumni, receive their pins bearing the iconic symbol, and pledge to use their knowledge to engage responsibly with a diverse and sustainable world.
The cupola and its weather vane is the symbol of this university. It is our guiding light, the beacon that calls us home. Tonight, class of 2022, it will be awash with purple and gold to welcome in the new academic year. On the eve of your graduation, 4 years from now, and I said 4 years from now, it will glow purple and gold again. Over the next few days, when you need a little quiet time, you need to decompress, I encourage you to take a walk to the south end of campus, to Old Main, the building that has represented this university for 124 years. Find a quiet place to sit and reflect on your future. Perhaps in the late evening or in the early morning. Perhaps with a newly found friend. And in that stillness that surrounds you, make a promise to yourself. Make a commitment to yourself. Make a covenant with yourself that you will be back here next year. Promise yourself that you will overcome whatever obstacles life may force upon you, and that you will continue to return to this historic place until you graduate. When I was just a bit older than you are today, my best friend in life shared with me the words of John Greenleaf Whittier in the poem Maud Muller. To paraphrase, he said this: "The saddest words of tongue or pen are these, my friend, it could have been." 4 years from now, don't look back and say, it could have been. Look forward and say, I did it. I graduated. The BBC publishes a list of the top 10 books, probably I should say works of literature, that you should read before you die. This year would be a great time to start on that list, and many of you probably already have. It includes titles like Pride and Prejudice, To Kill a Mockingbird, Great Expectations, Gone with the Wind, War and Peace, Crime and Punishment, The Life of Pi, Alice in Wonderland, The Color Purple, just to name a few. In one of the books on the BBC's list, you will find this passage. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. Class of 2022, it is time to give up childish ways. It is time to create your future. Let the learning begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join in the singing of our alma mater, the Purple and the Gold, led by Catherine Radisky. She will be joined by the UW-Stevens Point Band, and the words are printed on page 11 in the Convocation program. The audience may be seated. Faculty, staff, and students are asked to remain seated. Student leaders and marshals will release you to walk down the purple carpet and touch the cupola replica to signify your commitment to the university and to the covenant that you have pledged after the platform party recesses. Students, faculty, and staff are invited to attend the university welcome picnic at the DeBow Dining Center field after you're released. Before you go to the picnic, though, students, a class photo will be taken on the Health Enhancement Center practice field. So pay attention to the instructions for getting to that. And also, students, please remember to collect your token of inspiration prior to touching the cupola. Thank you very much. It is a great day to be a Pointer.